Hi, Camille. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming here to SVA all the way from Los Angeles. It's so great to meet you and see you. My name is Alexandra Donsky. I am a 2D BFA Animation student. I'm a third year here at SVA. I'm also one of the co-presidents for Women in Animation at SVA, which is a student collective that focuses on bringing together gender minorities interested in breaking into the industry. Could you tell us a little bit about what you do professionally and what's your day-to-day in the industry and what's that like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Camille Eden, and I'm currently residing in Los Angeles, and I've been in LA for a long time, since 2002. So I worked my way up from production. My first role was working at Industrial Light and Magic, and they didn't have the same titles at that time that they do now, but I basically worked my way up to being a senior coordinator. At that time would probably be like a production manager today. I moved into a lot of different roles. So in production, worked on independent TV series with 2D animation and CG animation. I've worked at DreamWorks and Sony. And it was when I worked at Sony that I moved over from production into recruiting, or as most people refer to it now as talent acquisition. So in the day-to-day job, it's really like wherever you see creative talent and you find that talent, you kind of keep track of where that talent is and lives and follow their careers so you can kind of place them in the right shows. So that's kind of the day-to-day.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and what brings you to SVA.
So I have been on the board of WIA since 2020, right before the pandemic. I would always make a space for reaching out and meeting with students, meeting with professionals of all different levels, because I continue that work. Whenever there's an opportunity to be able to engage and give back and share the knowledge that I have gained through working in the industry for such a long time, the work that I do with WIA, when opportunities like this come up, it's usually a yes for me, because it's just, I feel like it's really important to give back.
I know for a lot of young artists, especially women, gender minorities, people in the LGBTQ+ community, it's a tough time right now. Gender equity, DEI, a lot of people's rights are at stake. Artists' rights are at stake. There's just a lot going on right now. What has your experience been working in this industry and navigating the world, not only as a woman, but also as a woman of color? You know, what has that been like for you, and what has that taught you over the years?
I've never let any of the things that have been and I don't even want to call them blocks, because they haven't really been blocks for me. It's just like, okay, well, that's an issue. That's a thing. When I started in the industry, I was the only person that looked like me. There were other, people of color who were working at the studios, but I was usually one of very few, and that still is the case in some instances, and I think, again, that's why I gravitated towards an organization like WIA. Equity isn't about gender or ethnicity. Equity is about making a space for others at the table, right? It's not taking away from, it's adding to.
I totally love what you said about pulling a seat up to the table, making sure everyone's included. I feel like these are such basic lessons that we learn at childhood. The golden rule, treat people the way you want to be treated, but unfortunately, that's kind of a lost art, I've noticed, which is really unfortunate, but it is so comforting to know that there's people in these positions of power that still believe these things and still really put an emphasis on basic human decency and kindness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all it takes.
Yeah, that's it.
As not only a woman, but also a member of the LGBTQ+ community and a member of the disabled community, it's been hard navigating not only this industry, but also the world as a whole, where I feel like a lot of people don't take me as seriously as I want them to. Have you had any challenges like that, whether that it be in the workforce or within WIA? Is there anything like that you want to share?
I mean, it is a constant. It's something that, unfortunately, because of the way our society is based, it's something that you will have to navigate probably for your whole career. But I think it's important to know your strengths, because as a woman of color, every single time when I start a new opportunity, pretty much, if it's not a group of like-minded individuals, I have to prove myself, no matter what my level, whether it's vice president or whether it's creative or I always have to walk in and prove myself. I've had to deal with situations where I've been micromanaged. I've had situations where my opinion has been disregarded. The work of a male counterpart will be seen over. I've been mansplained to, even if I have more information, regardless of what your situation is. When you are other, and there's a minority and a majority, there's usually often some structure in place that will try to make you feel a certain way. So I say, know your worth, know what your capabilities are and what you're able to do, and you just stick to your guns. You stick to what's integral to you. And that's been something that has kept me going in those moments where I just want to give up and where I'm like so frustrated, I can't believe that just happened, right? So you just got to keep fighting the fight. And that's what I do. And that's why I do this work.
Through my time here at SVA and also through We SVA, I've met so many different people from different departments, majors, and all that great stuff. And it's really opened my eyes to not only asking for help, but building that kind of internal community and support system. Like my roommates back at the dorms across town are both illustration. And coming to SVA, I never would have imagined that I would be so close with people outside my own major, but I am. What has your experience been like meeting new people, and how have you been able to build that kind of support system and community for yourself?
All through my career, I didn't even realize it was happening, but I've been building this community this whole time. And so it's been life-changing, it's been enriching, it's been, you surprise yourself in, how this, like, building a community really lends itself to growth. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And, if you think about the people you meet along the way, like you said, like you didn't expect yourself to be working with all these different people. It's like that in and of itself is educating, and it's growth, and it shifts your perspective, right? And I think that's the part that's really important, is like you never stop learning and growing. And by meeting new people and experiencing new experiences, that's amazing. And that's what keeps you going. And I think that's what keeps me going. So it's almost like a web or a weave or a, you know what I mean? That is another skill set that I'm actually building on, but I'm also helping build new communities. And it's enriching, and it pays it forward, but it's kind of good for the soul in a weird way. Like you don't even realize you're doing it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, Camille, thank you so much for stopping by and sitting down and talking to me. It has been so great hearing your experience and hearing all these words of wisdom. It's been really enlightening. I'm wondering, if you could go back in time to your younger self, what advice would you want to give to her?
Well, it's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. This has been a really great conversation. I think if I could guide that younger me, it would be to, don't focus so much on other people's opinions.
Well, thank you so much. It's been amazing.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Please.
Great job.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. Yay.
Sweating.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen.